Ready?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Charlton Sports Network. We're live with the Coach Jones, so Sammy Hendricks, and Indians football head coach DeMario Jones. Here's Sammy Hendricks with the call.
Well,
Sammy?
thank you, Adam. Coach Jones, first of all, thank you for joining us again on the Coach Jones Show. Before we dive into Indians football, I'm going to give a shout-out and a congratulations to the maiden softball team with the first big win of the season
Great job,
this evening.
ladies.
Yeah, we just left them over there to win. Maidens pick up a win 10-6 for the first big win of the year.
Great job to the ladies and Coach Kemp. I know they've been working hard. We were out here practicing, and you could definitely hear them. So something good was going on. I heard enough yelling going on. So Good job, maidens.
Coach, like we talked briefly before we started here, I had a bunch of questions wrote down, and I've got to bring my questions with me. So, hey, it's game week. You guys have been working hard all summer long to lead up to this point. How are things looking here early in the first part of the week?
Good. I know there was something you'd asked last week, and it made me kind of think about it. You came out and there were some guys that were nicked up and bruised up, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. A few guys back that I know folks are going to be happy about seeing on the field. I won't say who those folks are so that they can come and be a part of the action on Friday. Up in the stands supporting us. But we're looking forward to a great night. So much goes into, these 10 guaranteed opportunities that you get. And, for your kids, they don't always see the value in all the spring and summer workouts and those things like that, the preseason camp and stuff that we did this year. But our kids have really been a spirited bunch. They've gotten a ton better since the spring. And you can definitely tell that, it's game week. And so far, we've approached the week well with the conditions that we've had. Yesterday had lightning sit right over, so we kind of waited it out, and we got a really good practice in at the end. And then today, the wet bulb kind of kept us right off the field, but we went in the gym and had some good work in there, and then we were able to get a really, really solid practice in. So
just to comment real quick on what you just said, hey, you worked out and you made a statement that you guys are better today than you were when you first started, and that's what it's all about, improving from week to week and day to day.
Yeah, so once we start playing, I think the biggest thing then will be the improvement that you can make from game one and then game two, and then how you sustain your fundamentals throughout the season, while you're scheming, for different folks. But, the beautiful thing about, football is people are going to be who they are. They may make an adjustment here or there depending on a defense or an offense that they're playing for the week. But, you really got to be fundamentally sound. And so we've been honing in on all that stuff and getting better with what we want to be offensively and defensively and the special teams. And now it's time for our kids to go out there, play as hard as they can, be the best version of themselves when their best is required, and give us an opportunity to coach and get them better.
Coach, we speak on it every time we spoke, and you guys have been out in it every day and talking about the heat. It's been hot out there. I was able to come over to the field house yesterday before you guys came out to practice or school got out, and I was speaking with Mr. Everything, Jeff Doggett, and he brought up the fact that y'all were starting a new hydration program on Monday. Tell us kind of how that works and what that's involving.
Well, it really goes back to the spring and what we were able to do through our booster club and the parents group that started what is now known as Fueling the Tribe. Our kids have been eating and have been, nourished properly, since the spring. And that's really, for most football programs, a year-to-year financial commitment, from your community, namely your quarterback or touchdown club, whatever you may have. And it's really something that's needed now. Two of my biggest charges outside of growing, and developing, successful young people is I want our kids to have an importance and a strong sense of what it means to be literate. So literacy is a big thing for me, and then nourishing our kids. And so you'd be surprised at how many kids don't eat properly, how many kids don't have access to food. How many kids that have access to food that are just, that just don't want to eat, And so we've had more mamas thank us for getting their babies to learn how to eat green beans that are, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. But because we require it, they do it. So, nutrition is the biggest part of hydration. You've got to eat. One of the biggest complaints, from kids in the heat is I've got a headache, and that's usually because you're dehydrated. Most times you're dehydrated because you didn't eat anything outside of the obvious thing, which is to drink water and then drink an adequate amount of electrolytes. So, yes, we are starting a hydration deal this week. It's one that we were fortunate enough to do when I was in Turner County. We had what I thought was a second to none nutrition program. Our kids, owned it. Now, obviously, we only had 25, 26 kids on the team, and so the number of kids that we were doing it with, wasn't an exceptionally high number, but it kept us from having kids cramp up, and that's a big thing for me. We shouldn't cramp up on Friday nights. Obviously, that adrenaline is going a little bit more on Friday night than it does probably throughout the week. But we practice, how we plan to play. And so, I don't expect our kids to cramp. I don't expect that to be a big thing. And, one of the additional kind of buffers in there to help aid with that is going to be obviously what we do hydration-wise. So our kids are looking forward to it. We just got done with a long night of practice and feeding them in ice baths and some other treatment and stuff for guys. And so we're working our way into being, like I envision us being, like I think Charlton belongs, and that's a big time, small school, high school football program that does it the right way.
Coach, let's go ahead and dive right into Brantley County. Past Friday night, they got the opportunity to play the scrimmage game. They played against Jeff Davis. Frederica, okay. Was you able to watch any game film on that or attend the game and see Brantley play?
Yeah, so we were fortunate enough to have an organized team activity Friday and then get the chance to go over and watch them. So we were able to still get what we needed to get done in the weight room and meeting and practice, and then we were able to go watch them. And I'll tell you, I know Coach David Shores, who's the new head coach there, actually got there, a little bit after I got here. Mm-hmm. Coach has a long track record of success. He's been at Camden County. He's been at Lowndes. Lowndes is when I think he and I first crossed paths. He's a really good man. He and I, share obviously his relation, but Coach Garrett Grady, who's the head coach at Brunswick, is a really, really, really good friend of mine and also a former teammate of mine in college at Valdosta State. And it's actually Coach Shores' brother-in-law. So Coach Shores and I know each other pretty well, and I know he's a good man. You look at Brantley, and they're an extension of who I know Coach Shores to be. They've got a plan. They're going to be sound. They're really solid in the special teams, and then you get to talking about them offensively and defensively. And they've got some good players on the field. So, what does that do for us? We've got to go out and play. And the beautiful thing for our kids, this is a game like, a clinch or somebody they would circle on the schedule because our kids get to grow up playing against their kids. Mm-hmm. So they know each other fairly well. So it's not anybody that you got to try to introduce them to. Our kids are able to call, certain names out and, either they played travel ball or they've done something. So
right.
There's a sense of knowing your opponent that's something that you don't have to spend a ton of time doing when you introduce a scouting report for the week. So, it was exciting to come in and be able to just get straight to ball and not have to say, well, here's who we're playing, here's where they're from. Our kids know Nehunna. They know who we're up against, and hopefully we beat it across to them. The importance of once the football game happens and the emotions settle down, and both bands are going to be playing, both fans are going to be cheering. Once the game settles down and it's time to play football, hopefully we've beaten their heads enough of the little things that we've got to do to be successful Friday.
Right. So, you and your coaching staff decided when you got together, met, and started to schedule everything out, you guys decided to keep everything that you guys done inter-squad with each other. Brantley was able to play somebody out other than themselves. Do you think that's an advantage for them, or is it an advantage for you guys to see them play going into Friday night?
The answer to the question is what happens Friday. Obviously having game experience is great. Scrimmages you can kind of control. One of the things that I thought was probably the most interesting about Brantley scrimmage, something that obviously probably gives them a bit of an edge, is they did their special teams live. So those kids got to go down the field and cover and do those types of things. But hey, we've been working at this a while. We've put a high emphasis on not just watching film, but holding accountable of mistakes and things that we've been making, and making the importance of why your eyes are supposed to be here, why your hands are supposed to be here, why we do it this way on this and why we do it that way on that. And so, that's got to account for something on Friday night. And then at the end of it, it's still their first game of the season. It's still our first live game of the season.
Right.
How bad do you want this, type of thing. And so for me, our kids have worked extremely hard. They're ready for the first game. We're not going to use the fact that we did an inter-squad versus trying to find a scrimmage. And I'll say this about the scrimmage. Coming in when I did, anybody that knows anything about scheduling in the state of Georgia, as soon as the new regions come out, by the time Christmas comes, most folks either have a schedule or are really close to having a schedule. And before I was going to play, a team in 2, 3, 4, 5 classifications higher than us, I want to make sure that we knew what we were doing. And most folks don't understand. You come in January, clock's ticking. And so, moving forward, a spring game, a scrimmage is obviously something that I want to do. But I'm happy about what we did. And I've been telling our kids this. I want our fans to take hold of this. I want everybody in Charlton County to take hold of this. We will never concede defeat. We will never accept failure. Failure is not an option. We expect to win just like any good, solid program does, and we're not going to make excuses for the things we do wrong. We're going to adjust and move forward.
All right. So the next couple of questions, without giving anything away, and I know you want to do that, speak on it too much, but kind of give us just a little bit of what we expect to see out of the offense.
Execution. You can look at an offense and tell when they have a plan. You can tell when they've been working on something. You can tell, when guys are in sync. That's the football side of things. And so I hope you see a team that executes, and guys that communicate, guys that, hold each other accountable in the sense that, if we're not lined up, our quarterbacks have done a great job of getting our guys lined up. Here the last couple of weeks when we started kind of maneuvering from, here's what summer looks like to here's what fall practice looks like, and here's what we'll look like week to week. And so I hope you see a team that'll execute what we're doing.
Right. Okay, what about on the defensive side of the ball?
Defensively, Charlton County has been known for flying around and hitting folks. And so, we'll get back, to doing that. We've got some guys who are excited about being, on the field and ready to play with, that spirit on their helmet and old school. I would equate it to being, what does an old school Charlton County Indian look like? That's a guy that, puts his hand in the ground or gets in his stance, and when he sees the ball, he goes and attacks it. And so, again, there are some days when I go out there and, I hear the stories from in the community of what defense looked like here, and I'll see it. A lot of these kids are related to a lot of those guys. And so I think you'll see a spirited bunch. Coach Simmons is widely known around the state of Georgia. He does an awesome job with our defense. Coach Schwing does also. I assist over on that side of the ball as well as all our coaches do. But Coach Simmons has done a really good job of kind of pushing everything to the center of the table and then spreading it out and making a puzzle. And anybody that knows Coach Simmons knows that he's really, really solid. He's a really, really solid, good football coach. I think he commented to us the other day, this is year 31. He's been a part of some state championship teams, some really good teams, coached some really good players, some NFL players, tons of college football players. So Coach Simmons knows what he's doing, and our kids really have loved on him and taken his personality.
Yeah. Last year on the special teams, the kicking spot was kind of a weak spot for the Indians football. What do you got going on with the kicking game?
Well, I think you'll see, some of the names and faces hadn't necessarily changed. We put a bigger emphasis on it. I think anytime that you emphasize something, you're bound to get better at it eventually. We want, just like anybody else does when we kick the ball, for it to be an advantage to us as far as field position is concerned. And so it's something we've really been working on. And, again, until we get to live game situations, and it creates something new for us to coach, we'll continue to coach the fundamentals. So, down to where you need to aim the ball when you punt, where your foot needs to be, and, how we want to attack things, punt, rush, and extra point field goal. We've really put an emphasis not just on having that be something on the practice schedule, but how do we maximize and use that time efficiently. And so we've gotten better in those areas, and again, that'll be something that I'm looking forward to seeing Friday night as well.
Coach, one of my special, or I can not say special, one of the things I really like about Friday night football was going out and watching pre-games when teams are out there warming up. I always liked their Indians routine. Anything special do we plan on seeing pre-game, or anything special during the game that you got planned for the fans?
No, I don't think I had anybody tell me about that. I would have been open to listening. We're going to honor our maidens track and field team before the game at 7:10 prior to the Band of Pride starting, which will be really, really neat. We'll have something well planned for them. So I'd encourage everybody to be there at least by 7:10 to honor those young ladies. Obviously, I'm the football coach, and it's going to be a really, really special time. It'll be the first time I lead a group out on the field here at Champ Bailey Field. And so it's a really special time for me. But those girls in that group and what they did is really, really special. We're actually having a banquet for them on Thursday night before the game, the region champ boys and the state championship girls, and then we'll honor the girls before the game. So I guess that's the special thing. But as far as what happens before the game, here's my goal: to get out, make sure we, when most folks say lather them up, get a good sweat going, seat your pads, and then get back in and get ready to run out. The games, not necessarily won and lost at the beginning of the game, in the pregame, because you got to get out there and get moving. But then we got to also remember, just like we talked about earlier in the show about how hot it is, we better make sure that on Friday night, everybody wants to see the Indians in all black, that we're not wearing ourselves out. So we got some things planned. Again, you talked about, Mr. Everything, Jeff Doggett, and old Pee Wee, and Mr.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Some,
I mean, bring Pee Wee up,
and some of the other guys that have been helping around the program. We've got any and everything that you're going to want to stay cool and stay hydrated on the sideline. So, again, we'll give ourselves the resources we need to be successful, and then we won't make excuses for failure. We'll adjust, and we'll move forward with the idea of being successful. So, again, we can't talk about it being hot at practice. It's going to be hot Friday night.
Right.
And so our idea is to get out there, get a really good structured pregame in, and then get off and get in, let everything that's going to happen out there. Because when it's time to run out, that'll be a really, really big moment for our kids. Be a really big moment for me. I'll tell you, Friday's a day for me. Outside of it being, my first time leading a squad out on the field in any game for Charlton County, Friday's my daughter's birthday.
Okay.
So it's something I've been thinking about.
Need a big win then.
Yeah, it just kind of happened like that. Old Taylor Rose, I tell you, I talked last week about how much her and my wife Terry mean to me, and just to have this opportunity. I remember 2 years ago when I was going out for the first time as a coach and just had my baby, and to be able to celebrate her birthday, it gives me no greater joy as a husband and a father to get to wake up with the girls that God gifted me and to just love on them and them love on me the way they do. And so really excited about Friday and celebrating her. And then also on Friday, my mom and dad are usually at everything. So at some point, I'm sure you and Adam, if you hadn't already meet my mom, my dad, my brother. But we had a death in our family, and my mom and dad are going to be going up to around the Macon area, I believe, to go be with, my Uncle Rouse, my Auntie Pamela, my cousin Jaimin. My uncle's mom passed away, and so my mom and dad, wouldn't have missed this thing for anything other than family is important, and I understand, and family's first. But because of the platform that you and Adam provide, they're going to be able to watch the game from where they are with our family. So, love y'all, Payne family. We're praying for you all. My love, my heart goes out to you. But again, this is why we do what we do. Family is important. My family here is amazing. We've been through so much this off season, this spring, this summer, and it's been a really good spring and good summer. When you get to see a community rally behind kids, the way that our community has, and our quarterback club, and everybody that just loves the Indians, it is so exciting to think about. The possibilities that are in front of us. It's kind of the question everybody asks, Coach, the week you're getting ready to play. And I don't know that folks necessarily like this answer, but, when you ask a coach who spends so much time with young people, with other men who spend so much time with young people, you spend that time away from your family, and then you ask, Coach, we're going to win? There's a sign that's above our locker room, just like I'm sure is in many locker rooms. And it's one I'll always remember. It's one that we had at Valdosta State, and we were pretty successful. But it said expect to win. And so every time we went out to practice, we always hit that sign. Every time we went out for a game, we always hit that sign. And that sign is not necessarily about cockiness or arrogance. It's about knowing that you've put in infinite amount of work, and you've studied and you're prepared. And so now it's time to go out and play and, for lack of a better term, get paid. And so our kids are looking forward to that, just trying to build back that spirit. I think when you think about Charlton County football history, it's been so long from the last state champion appearance to this year. And so it's time that our kids and our program, and it's a community effort, we all get back to working to that year in and year out, because I know those, you guys have seen those days. I'd love to be a part of that. Now I want to be a part of that, and that's the goal here. And so our kids are looking forward to Friday. It's obviously our first one together. It's, the other team's first one together, officially with their new coach and their coaching staff. So it'll be a good night, but I'm concerned about what we're doing and us putting our best foot forward. And I definitely can say this. I love my kids. I love the families that they come from. This is a really, really wonderful community, and it's not hard to see why Charlton County football is important.
Right. So a couple more things real quick, Coach, and I'll let you got some stuff there to talk about. Quarterback club, anybody wanting the quarterback club needs to reach out to Marcy over at State Farm. So are you still able to take in for the quarterback club, obviously?
Yeah, so Miss Marcy does a great job. Obviously, Brian Hewlin, who everyone here in town knows, I'm sure. Please go by and join the quarterback club. Everything that club does is first class, and it's with our kids in mind. And so the moment you think that, what is that club, what is that organization serve a purpose for? It's for our kids. And we couldn't do what we wanted to do without the support of the quarterback club and the support of the Board of Education, Dr. Tilley and all the folks there, and then Mr. McCoy and all our faculty and staff. But what's even greater about this small community is, the folks at Bethune Middle and folks in elementary and St. George Elementary, all are Indians. We're all pulling for each other. And so when one of us wins, all of us wins. And so definitely have to ask anybody that's not a part that wants to support Indian football, please join the quarterback club.
All right, Coach, we've been talking basically about the kids and the community here. I want you to talk real quick, just a second, about the coaching staff. New guys coming in, you bringing your guys in. There was a couple that are left over from last year's coaching squad. You guys talk all the time. You have meetings, I'm sure, all the time. You've been talking about this coming Friday night for a long time. How are the coaches? Are they excited about coming up Friday night?
Yeah, so we met Sunday, like coaching staffs do on Sundays typically. We were here for a good little while, just making sure that we give our kids every opportunity to be successful, and more importantly, that throughout the week we can be efficient with our time so that everybody that's a husband, father, dad can get home to do what they need to do, and continue to watch, their family grow on a daily. So I know my wife's super supportive of what we do. All the coaches are in good spirits. I think when things are going too perfect, you tend to look around the corner and say, oh, Lord, what's going to happen? Yeah. So the heat hasn't necessarily affected us. The poor weather hadn't necessarily affected us. We've kind of set a schedule, month and a half ago about what this time frame would look like and what we needed to do to adjust. We even communicated that to our parents, in the event of bad weather, here's what we're going to do, and we're going to probably be a little later to make sure we get the work in. So, again, this is why this transition, if you will, has been special, because everyone has kind of banded together, and it's outside of the weather some days, or the heat some days. Everybody's been on board with us doing what we have to do to get the job done. I know a lot of it with our kids is making sure that they, we're back in school, that have adequate time to do their schoolwork. And I know everybody wraps up about, football. Smart football players are good football players, and there's a smart one, inside of every one of our kids. So we're going to hold them to that standard and stick to it.
Okay, Coach, that's really all I got. You got some stuff there in front of you if you want to go ahead and take over on that.
Yeah, no, man. I'm sure you had it in your notes at home. I just, know typically, folks like to, who on the team do you kind of watch out for, and I know you watch Brantley. Got a couple of really good running backs. They've got some. They probably got one of the best tight ends or flex guys that we'll see all year. Number 12. They got a receiver that we know can fly, number 88, and we've got some really long quarterbacks. Number 13's a good little quarterback, and then on defense, what stands out again is to know Coach Shores is to know, when you watch the defense play, they fly around and look like they're having fun. Look like they've taken on, Coach's higher energy attitude. Coach Shore is a really fun person to be around. He's always got a smile on his face, as I remember. But again, number 12, number 9, some guys that we can call out that play offense. And then in the special teams, their kicker does a good job, especially on the kickoff, from the stuff that we were able to see, getting the ball down the field and flipping the field position. So we'll have to be really solid in those areas. But again, it's a game that, we're going to have to go out and play. I've heard the history of the, Brantley County, Charlton County, rivalry, so to speak, and it's a big deal when you got communities so close together. So we're definitely looking forward and excited to it. And, not that we have to say it, but hoping that we have an extremely large crowd for the first game of the year to come out and to support our tribe.
Well, good. It's game week, 3 days away. Me and Adam's talked about it. We're both ready for it. We're both excited. I know you and the other coaches and the players are. And, Coach, Friday night, we look forward to hopefully a big, big win, and we look forward to them blinking lights going off a lot during the ball game Friday night.
Well, the blinking lights will be fun. I hadn't had the chance to experience that. I know when I got here, somebody asked if I wanted to see them cut on, and so I'm hoping Friday will be my first time, because I didn't want to see them. But just the biggest thing that I can close with in saying is our kids, more so than anything, you'll interview me after the game, and all the positive attention will go to the kids. It's really the job that they've done. It's really the job that our assistant coaches have done, and those families that are collected. My job is to be the guiding point and the vessel to how we're going to get there. And so I'm so thankful for this opportunity. I'm so thankful to be a part of a place that cares about their young people and is willing to make the resources available for them to be successful. So looking forward to a big night, man. I know what this atmosphere feels like, and it's kind of brewing now. The last couple of nights I walked out of the stadium going to my car, and I've kind of looked at the stadium, completely dark, and I've just been in awe. But more importantly, I've honestly stopped in that moment and thank God for what I see and not what hadn't been seen yet, because this didn't have to happen. These set of circumstances didn't have to be where they are. So I'm a thankful head coach. I'm thankful for my kids. I'm thankful for my coaches. I'm thankful for everyone that has a hand in making sure that this Charlton County football happens and happens at a high level.
Yeah. Well, Coach, good luck.
I appreciate it.
Go Indians.
Adam?
Coach, thank you as always, man. We appreciate you. I'm looking forward to obviously the game Friday night. Full house rivalry game. Brantley's only 30 minutes away. Place can be packed. Halftime, we're going to have you right as halftime comes out.
Yes, sir.
I'll have our guys meet you on our sideline as you come out. Fans can look forward to that. We'll have your comments at halftime and postgame.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Looking
man.
forward to it.
Appreciate it. Thank you for watching the Coach Jones Show. We'll see y'all Friday night live from the swamp at Champ Bailey